Khvicha Kvaratskhelia has been taking over the Serie A. There is a reason they call him Kvaradona. In his debut season for Napoli, he finished as the league's top assist provider, was named the Serie A MVP, and named as the Champions League Young Player of the Season. Thanks to his incredible performances, Napoli reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League for the first time ever and won their first Serie A title in 33 years. However, there were people who doubted his ability after Napoli's disastrous 2024 season. People questioned whether he was just a one-season wonder. But Antonio Conte has rejuvenated the Georgian. So how has Kvaratskhelia returned back to being one of Serie A's best players? When Napoli signed Kvara in 2022, to the majority of the world, he was an unknown name. But the Italian club knew he had potential. You see, as early as 2018 when Kvara was playing for Rustavi, he was the subject of interest from Europe's top clubs. Reports indicated that Bayern were interested in him, and they even had Kvara in attendance during their 0-0 match against Sevilla in the Champions League quarterfinals. Statistically, Kvara only had scored 3 goals across 18 appearances for Rustavi, but he was so good off the eye test that the Guardian still named him among the 60 best young players worldwide. With there being some buzz around his name, he joined Lokomotiv Moscow on loan in February of 2019. It was time for him to show his abilities in Russia. He ended up only making 7 appearances and scored just 1 goal against Rubin Kazan. But just in those handful of games, he had played well enough that Lokomotiv Moscow manager Yuri Sermin was very disappointed that the club could not agree on a permanent transfer for him. And the manager, he was right to be upset, as Kvara ended up joining Rubin Kazan in July of 2019 and immediately made his mark. His first game for his new club was against his previous club, Lokomotiv Moscow. He came on as a sub in the second half and scored the equalizer in a 1-1 draw. He was named as the best player of the match by Rubin fans on the official website of the club. This, well, it was only the beginning. The Georgian's market value increased 5 times in a single season between June of 2019 and June of 2020. He even won 4 Player of the Months in the 2020-2021 season. In early 2021, the magazine L'Equipe published a list of 50 best players born in the 21st century, and Kvara was the only Russian league player to be included. Despite all of this hype though, keep in mind, the majority of the world still didn't know about him. I mean, you would have only really known about him if you were a Football Manager addict. It was all going so well, but then everything changed. On the 7th of March 2022, FIFA announced that due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, foreign players in Russia could suspend their contracts until 30th of June, and were allowed to sign with clubs outside of Russia until the same date. Kvara ended up doing just that, going back to Georgia to play for Dinamo Batumi. Of course, at that point, it was clear that he was too good for the Georgian league, scoring 8 times and getting 2 assists in just 11 league matches. He was named the best player of the season for the second round of the season. But despite playing in Georgia, other clubs had Kvara on their radar. After all, before, back when he was in Russia, this guy was listed on multiple occasions as a player to watch. The only reason he was back in his home country was because of an international conflict, not because of ability. Sensing an opportunity, Napoli became the only team willing to invest and take a gamble on the Georgian winger. They signed him for a fee reportedly between 10 to 12 million euros. Now, I say it was a gamble because at that point nobody knew how good he could become. Sure, he was mentioned in a magazine multiple times, but you know how many of those players end up never fulfilling their true potential? Like when you look back across 4 seasons in the Russian league, Kvara only got 10 goals and 10 assists. In fact, now when you look at his Napoli stats and then look back to his Russian league stats, his time in Russia was the only period in his career that seems average. 10 goals, 10 assists? He can do that in half a season nowadays. But right from the get-go, Kvara showed that he was worth the investment. In his first match day of the Serie A against Hellas Verona, he scored and assisted in a 5-2 win. In the following match day, he scored twice against Monza. He became the first player in Napoli history to score 3 goals in his first opening 2 league matches. To wrap up a great month, he was named the Serie A Player of the Month for August. His domination continued to go over into the Champions League, where he got his first goal in the competition in a 6-1 away win over Ajax. In the return leg a week later, he got a goal and assist as well, being named man of the match. You genuinely couldn't have drawn up a better debut season. With 3 goals and an assist during the month of February, Kvaratskhelia was named the Serie A Player of the Month for a second time, becoming the first player to win the award multiple times in the same season. He concluded the Serie A campaign with 12 goals and 10 assists, becoming the league's top assist provider. He was vital to Napoli securing their first Serie A title in 33 years. The combo of him and Victor Osimhen, it was one of the best duos in world football, not just in Italy. His performances earned him the Serie A Most Valuable Player award and the Champions League Young Player of the Season. It was a reminder that he wasn't just good domestically in Italy, he was great in Europe against the best competition as well. The wonderful thing about Kvara is that it's not all about his stats either. When you watch him play, he's one of those unforgettable players. The ball is stuck to his feet like glue, he easily beats his man. He is rapid and has that superstar quality of making something out of nothing. You want to see all of his qualities in action? Watch this goal he scored against Atalanta that not only won the Serie A goal of the month, but goal of the season. You can understand why he was given the nickname Kvaradona. Some of his runs are truly Maradona-esque. I get dizzy watching this guy dribble sometimes. But while the 2023 season was a dream, the 2024 season was drastically different. With Spalletti gone, a managerial carousel began at Napoli. With different managers coming in and going, and none of them being a good coach, the team began to underperform. Kvara still got 11 goals and 9 assists, which is impressive given how there was no consistency in the team at all. But unfortunately, it didn't result in much, as Napoli finished 10th that season, putting on the worst title defense in Serie A history. Again, Kvara still had moments of brilliance, like his 2 goals and assists against Sassuolo, as well as his brace against Hellas Verona. But nobody is going to praise you when your team is mid-table after having just been champions the year before. Thanks to Antonio Conte though, Kvara is performing well again and the team is back to winning ways. Conte isn't the attacking mastermind that Spalletti was, but he is a great manager in the league. Kvara is still playing in the left wing role, but Conte has instructed him to move more centrally at times. To be honest, it's genius. Not only does it put Kvara in a great position for the whole team tactically, but he operates better in the center because that way he can beat players going either to the left or the right. He has more options. It's gotten the best out of the Georgian. He was named the Serie A Player of the Month again for October of 2024. Osimhen has been replaced with Lukaku, but Kvara has already created a relationship with the Belgian, with both of them playing well off of each other. Kvara's creativity is essential to Napoli's success. He can exploit wide areas, can cut inside to create scoring opportunities for others like Lukaku, or finish the play himself. We have already seen him scoring key moments this season, like against Milan and Monza. He is also a threat both with and without the ball. He can make runs into the space that are created from Lukaku's build-up play, but he can also carry the ball himself, dribbling past multiple players at the same time. In my opinion, I think we are looking at someone with superstar potential. If he can continue to be this consistent and Napoli can win more trophies, there is no doubt that another club will come in with a massive money offer. I mean, if Jack Grealish is being bought for 100 mil, then Kvara is worth that at a minimum. This is a player that can influence games on his own. Easily one of the very best players in the Serie A and a breath of fresh air from a winger. He's not afraid to take on his man. He's tenacious. He constantly dribbles at the defenders. Once he adds more goals and assists to his name, he will be talked about even by the people who don't watch Italian football. Cause consistency matters. He's only been at the top flight in a top 5 European league for a few seasons now. But if there's someone who can get the best out of him, it will be Conte. To see how the Italian manager has rejuvenated Napoli from being mid-table to title contenders again, you have to check out this video right here.